Bigfoot, also known as Sasquatch, is the name given to an ape-like creature that cryptozoologists believe inhabits the forests mainly in the Pacific Northwest region of North America. Bigfoot is usually described as a large, hairy, bipedal humanoid. Bigfoot is described in reports as a large, hairy, ape-like creature in a range of 6 to 10 feet, 2 to 3 meters tall, weighing in excess of 500 pounds, which equals to about 230 kilograms, and covered in the dark brown or dark reddish hair. Alleged witnesses have described large eyes, a pronounced brow ridge, and a large low-set forehead. The top of the head has been described as rounded and crested, similar to the sagittal unpleasant smell by those who claim to have encountered it. The enormous footprints for which it has named have been as large as 24 inches, 60 centimeters long, and 8 inches wide. While most casts have 5 toes, like all known apes, some casts of alleged Bigfoot tracks have had numbers ranging from 2 to 6. Some have also contained claw marks, making it likely that a proportion came from known animals such as bears, which have 5 toes and claws. Some proponents have also claimed that Bigfoot is omnivorous and mainly nocturnal. Wildman stories are found among the indigenous population of the Pacific Northwest. The legends existed prior to a single name for the creature. They differed in their details both regionally and between families in the same community. Similar stories of wild men are found on every continent except Antarctica. Ecologist Robert Michael Pyle argues that most cultures have human-like giants in their folk history. We have this need for some larger-than-life creature. Members of the Lumi tribe tell tales about Tsimwekis, the local version of Bigfoot. The stories are similar to each other in terms of the general descriptions of Tsimwekis, but details about the creature's diet and activities differed between the stories of different families. Some regional versions contained more nefarious creatures. The Steyaha, or Kwikwiai, were a nocturnal race that children were told not to say the names of, lest the monsters hear or come to carry off a person, sometimes to be killed. In 1847, Paul Kane reported stories by the native people about Skookums, a race of cannibalistic wild men living on the peak of Mount St. Helens. The Skookums appear to have been regarded as supernatural rather than natural. Less menacing versions, such as the one recorded by Reverend Elkanah Walker, exist. In 1840, Walker, a Protestant missionary, recorded stories of giants among the Native Americans living in Spokane, Washington. The Indians claimed that these giants lived on and around the peaks of nearby mountains and stole salmon from the fishermen's nets. Various local legends were compiled by J. W. Burns in a series of Canadian newspaper articles in the 1920s. Each language had its own name for the local version. Many names meant something along the lines of wild man or hairy man, although other names described common actions. and it was said to perform, eating clams. Burns coined the term Sasquatch and used it in his articles to describe a hypothetical single type of creature reflected in these various stories. Burns' articles popularized both the legend and its new name, making it well known in Western Canada before it gained popularity in the United States. Frontiersman Daniel Boone reported having shot and killed a 10-foot hairy giant he called a Yahoo. Folktale scholar Hugh H. Trotty has argued that Boone's account may have been the inspiration for some of the Bigfoot stories told in North America. In 1951, Eric Shipton had photographed what he described as a Yeti footprint. This photograph generated considerable attention, and the story of the Yeti entered into the popular consciousness. The notoriety of ape men grew over the decade, culminating in 1958 when large footprints were found in Del Norte County, California, by bulldozer operator Gerald Crew. Sets of large tracks appeared multiple times around a road construction site in Bluff Creek. After not being taken seriously about what he was seeing, Crew brought his friend Bob Titmus to cast the prints in plaster. The story was published in the Humboldt Times along with a photo of Crew holding one of the casts. Locals had been calling the unseen track maker Bigfoot since the late summer, which Humboldt Times columnist Andrew Genzaldi shortened to Bigfoot in his article. Bigfoot gained international attention when the story was picked up by the Associated Press. Following the death of Ray Wallace, a local logger, his family attributed the creation of the footprints to him. The wife of Scoot Beale, the editor of the Humboldt Standard, which later combined with the Humboldt Times, in which Genzoli's story had appeared, stated that her husband was in on the hoax with Wallace. 1958 was a watershed year, not just for the Bigfoot story itself, but also for the culture that surrounds it. The first Bigfoot hunters began following the discovery of footprints at Bluff Creek, California. Within a year, Tom Slick, who had funded searches for Yeti in the Himalayas earlier in the decade, organized searches for Bigfoot in the area around Bluff Creek. As Bigfoot has become better known and a phenomenon in popular culture, sightings have spread throughout North America. In addition to the Pacific Northwest, the Great Lakes region and southeastern United States have had many reports of Bigfoot sightings.
La 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 la.